Welcome to a very special edition of Nile Magazine. Today we're bringing to you a lot of interesting topics, so stay with us. Our first segment is Story of the Week, and in it I will be interviewing Dr. Mohammed Rifat Zahir, head of the Mining Committee in Canada-Egypt Business Council. As for our Africa page, in it we will be learning more about the Republic of Mali through one of the students studying here in Egypt. In our culture review, we will be learning more about the bilateral relations between Egypt and Russia. In our NGOs page, we will be visiting Ahalina Foundation. In today's Story of the Week, I'm happy to have with me Dr. Mohammed Zahir, Chairman of the Mining Committee in Canada-Egypt Business Council. Dr. Mohammed, welcome to Story of the Week. I'd like to start by asking you, why did you decide to enter the mining business although you're a graduate of business administration?
I'll tell you more than this. I actually studied pharmaceutical sciences in the College of Pharmacy in Cairo. And then I completed my studies and my postgraduate studies on the American University in Cairo, as well as London City College in Britain. I assume that your question is, why didn't you start geology? My family business was the retail chain of pharmacies, and this is how I started. However, when I started business, I turned out to be a business entrepreneur. A lot of pharmacists actually is doing the same in Egypt. One of my very best friends, although he's like 65 years old and he's the chairman of the jewelry group in the commercial union community, yet he is also a pharmacist. It's actually the opportunity that directs you to where you want to go. I felt that I love to work in the resources sector, and there's a very famous saying in the North American continent when they say, once you get into the mining business, you fell in love with it, and that's exactly what happened. It's opportunity, I followed it out, and it went great.
Doctor, as a miner, what are the conditions of mining in Egypt?
The people need to understand that the mining isn't a small or an easy or a short process. It's a very long-term business with very high-risk conditions. And when we say mining, it's actually a very general word. Mining is only the last phase of process that deals with the resources. You still need to start with prospection, exploration, development, and then comes the mining. Mining in Egypt has been historical. We used to have great mining process all over the 7,000 years of the Egyptian country, and actually the condition now in Egypt is very bad. We can do much better than this. Our situation is we are so far behind than other countries that are actually more poor than us in our resources, not only the quality but also the quantity.
We're talking about the difficulties in mining in Egypt. So what are the causes of the setbacks in mining?
It's a complex of problems or points that we need to take care of. First of all is the main governmental organization that deals with our resources, which is EMRA now, the Egyptian Mineral Resources Authority, has not been updated with the management, experts, and the dealing with the resources the way the global countries, the other globe works for it. For example, this association, the Egyptian Mineral Resources Authority, has been moved between the Ministry of Industry and the Ministry of Petroleum for 3 times. So this makes a lot of confusion about how ministers do their plans and more other stuff. The other very important point is, up till now, we're still working in mining using the jurisdictions of law number 86 for the year 1956, which is very old law. It's very famous that you can find a tariff for a quarry or something with 2 piastres or 2.5 piastres. Um, that makes the governmental executives stop doing and giving licenses to the people, to the individuals, to the companies, because it's very cheap. And you can't, as you know, business is not an option, business is a must. The cycle must go on, and the cash cycle must go on. You can't stop the license. The people won't work. No jobs will be offered to the people, and there is a lot of development will not find its way to the people. This is only 3 or 4 points in a complex of problems that I've told you before.
Doctor, what are the main ores which Egypt is rich in?
As I have mentioned to you before, we stand in a very far position. We're so far behind.
What's the amount of gold in Egypt? Are they enough?
If you just can let me elaborate for you, gold is gold. It's a very expensive mineral. You can't expect to find gold on the surface like this. Gold needs a huge, long, very high-risk process until you actually can exploit it and separate it and then do it into a final product with a pure bullion of 4 nines. We're suffering from ignorance, and there are so many even specialist executives in the country that are ignorant about not only gold but other commodities. But since you're taking the example of gold, it's a very long process where the percentage of making a mine after exploration and development, before the development phase, like prospection and exploration, it's only 1% that you can make a mine work out. You can't go to the opening pits. We call it opening pits. You can't go to the opening pits of the pharaohs and then the Greek and the Romans and then the Muslims and then the Italians and the French and the English, and then say, oh, we have mines. No, we don't have mines. This is opening pits of surface mines that people used to work it in a very primitive way. The mining society all over the world changed a lot with a high-speed acceleration. If we failed in knowing this change and evaluating it and knows exactly where do we stand, it's going to be very frustrating for us. It's going to be a big failure. To find a gold deposit, you go through geophysics process, including the geographical information system, the airborne services, the satellite images, the polarization and whatsoever, and then you go for the geochemical process, which contains like the graph sampling and the channel sampling until you define a prospect where you're gonna do your drilling, because the drilling is the most expensive phase, the most expensive process. You don't want to lose that. You need to define exactly where you're going to make your drilling, because it's very expensive, or you're going to lose your investment and you're going to end up with a big hole in the ground. The other thing is how people need to understand how we should communicate or make a connection between the resources that we should go for it and the financial markets. It's a high-risk business. You can't do it individually. You need to be a public company. You need thousands of shareholders to distribute the risk all over them so nobody gets hurt at the end. There's a lot about mining that Egypt needs to learn about.
As head of the mining committee in Canada Egypt Business Council, would you tell me please about the bilateral relations between Canada and Egypt in the field of mining?
Since 2004, the Canada-Egypt Business Council have been sending a lot of trade missions to Canada. Why Canada? Canada is the main mining giant all over the world. Like all the from all the mining companies all over the world, 75% of those companies are registered in Canada, and 60% out of those, when they choose to go public, they choose Toronto stock market. Toronto stock market has raised $220 billion in 2011, which is 90% of the whole funds raised from the IPOs and the equity raising. And there is a lot that I can say about Canada in the mining field, but Canada can do a lot to Egypt to help her in developing its legislations and developing the skills of the executives, training courses or whatever. And this is not something that we should ignore, because Canada is doing the same to many countries. By the way, I have only Egyptian nationality. I'm not a Canadian or whatsoever. But we need to depend on our friends in helping us, showing us the real way. The Canada-Egypt Business Council had from day one has had its mining and petroleum committee. In 2012, we split the committees, and now we only have the mining committee, which I was honored to be the chairman of it. And there is a lot that we're doing in many aspects to develop the Egyptian mining sector using the experts coming from Canada and many other places in the world.
Dr. Mohammed Rifat Zahir, Chairman of the Mining Committee in Canada-Egypt Business Council, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you, Rasha.
As for our Africa page, in it we will be learning more about the Republic of Mali through one of the students studying here in Egypt. Malawi, officially the Republic of Malawi, is a landlocked country in Southeast Africa that was formerly known as Nyasaland. It is bordered by Zambia to the northwest, Tanzania to the northeast, and Mozambique on the east, south, and west. The country is separated from Tanzania and Mozambique by Lake Malawi. Malawi is over 118,000 kilometers square with an estimated population of 14,900,000. Its capital is Lilongwe. Mr. Ayam Abdessalem from the Republic of Malawi. Would you please talk to me about your country, the best sightseeing in it, the things you like about it and you'd like Egyptians to know more about?
Thanks very much. First of all, like I've just said, that I'm a Malawian by nationality, and there is a great advantage to be here, and it is a great honor for me to be here.